Hey, this is Brock, Brain Surgeon. Today we're looking at the Jagdpanzer E-100. This is a Tier 10 German tank destroyer. There's a link to the full review in the comments. Go check that out. We're following around Aewyen. He's on Prokhorovka, and he is setting up shop on the railroad tracks. This is a very typical place for tank destroyers to set up. It's because they can snipe at all the people who are scouting the ridge as the Batchat is doing in front. It also allows them to dip down on either side of the hill to avoid incoming fire. There's a couple artillery on the other side which are going to be particularly dangerous to something as big as the JP-100. The J-100 was the first of the really big alpha tanks outside of artillery. It deals 1,050 damage in a shot, making sure the enemy gets a hurt if you connect. Hitting the Batchat for just under 1,000 on the move there, that can turn the course of battle relatively quickly. Since the release of the J-100, there have been a lot of tanks that have come out after it which kind of dilute the big alpha effect. The T-57 and the 50B can crank out 1,600 damage in a couple seconds. The Waffentrager can crank out 3,000 damage in a couple of seconds. The FV-183 can deal 2,000 damage in one hit. So as the J-100 has aged, it has some peers which kind of overshadow it in the alpha department. However, it still packs a punch. However, unlike those other tanks, the J-100 has a lot of protection to go along with its firepower. The hull is basically an E-100, which means the upper front plate is surprisingly strong, and the lower front plate, when angled, can be very thick and bounce some shots as well. The E-100, the normal E-100 non-tank destroyer, has the problem where the turret face is very flat, so 300 penetration guns can go right through it. The J-100 has a more angled surface and a larger mantlet, making the front of the J-100 incredibly sturdy. The sides of the J-100 don't offer a ton of protection, however it will bounce some shots if they come at some interesting angles, and the large tracks will eat some heat shells, giving you a modest amount of protection from the side. It's good to have this protection because the camo is just not great, so you're going to be seen and you're going to be shot at. The added toughness allows it to be closer to the front lines than otherwise might be possible, and Aewyen is getting a little bit more aggressive, and as the battle moves on, he is actually going to move up to help force the action. The reload time is a ridiculous 25 seconds, so try to make your shots count, as you might not get a second chance. Aewyen is shooting primarily heat in this game, and I agree with that decision. You can't choose where and when your enemies show up, and you want to be ready with as much punching power as possible. Now, earlier in the game he was shooting heat at a Batchat. That's obviously severe overkill, but it's not like with a 25-second reload you can just say, oh, I'm going to switch to AP just for that guy. That guy might be dead in 25 seconds or long gone. So I like the idea of shooting heat because if someone exposes, say, just a turret, you can punch through that turret no problem. Aewyen is running food along with a large repair kit and automatic fire extinguisher. I think these are fine choices. I like the automatic fire extinguisher on German tanks because that 1 tick or 2 ticks of damage that you get when a fire is burning from the time when you notice a fire has happened to the time the fire gets put out, that can be significant, and that can be a real downside because it injures a lot of crew and modules as it burns. The food is probably to get that aim time down to, not the aim time, the reload time down to a reasonable level from 25 seconds, which is a solid idea as well. Here we can see that strong penetrating power of the heat round able to go through the side of an IS-7's turret. That is not an automatic penetration. You can see that the aim time and traverse of the gun is not that great. However, it just doesn't have to be. It's not like you're going to be consistently swinging around 180 degrees to try to get another shot behind you. Those are just, it's not the position that the tank is going to be in. So the aim time is acceptable for what it is. You have a ton of time to pre-aim since your reload time is so incredibly long. So it doesn't sink the tank, it doesn't make the tank either. You still don't want to release the shot before the tank is too aimed in, as your reload time is just too long to spray shots everywhere. Having said that, Aewyen has launched a bunch of low percentage shots, which I agree with. You want to get more shots flying in the air because the upside is just so huge. Dealing 1,000 damage to a tank can change the outcome of a flank or a small scale engagement. I really love how he's able to use the armor of the tank to be a little bit more towards the front lines. He's not just hiding in the back in A1. A lot of tank destroyers love doing that. He's pushing the action forward. Now, he probably can't be on the front lines. That's not going to be great for the tank. But here he's just getting up close and personal with an E4, and I think that's a fantastic use. So I'm kind of having a dichotomy here where I praise him for being so far forward in the action, and then I say, wait, you really shouldn't be that far forward in the action. He gets crushed from behind, and he realizes, whoops, he's probably a little too far forward. One of his teammates dies, and he's actually caught with nothing between him and the enemy. So he reverses, he puts the house between himself and the likely area of fire, which was J0, and decides to just kind of wait it out for a moment. I really like this replay because it's not just enemies lining up to suicide in front of him. He's actually moved towards areas where he knew he could get spots. In the early game on the railroad tracks, he knew he would have a couple spots. Towards the middle, he got a hit on the bat chat. When the action in the middle died down, he moved up forward towards flank to get some shots on the hill. When the shots on the hill died down, he moved forward yet again, was able to take out an E4 in close range, and now he's able to get flank shots on the 1 and 2 line from this location. So I really like how he used the mobility of the tank. I like how he used the armor to be closer to the action than, say, a Waffle or a 183 could be. And I even love the replay because it shows some of the downsides of the J100. When he got a little bit too far and the action kind of floated away from him, you can see he's pretty isolated. There are no teammates that can cover him if he gets flanked. And that's exactly what's going to happen. A Leo is going to pull out, and he just does not have the traverse. His teammate's not able to eliminate the Leo in time, and he's just going to get taken out from the back. That's a very real downside of the J100, is getting flanked. But in the end, Aewyen still dealt 6,000 damage. Still a great game. Hope you enjoyed. Happy hunting.